Hey there, I'm Lonnie Lopez, and we're currently on season 2 of One Time Out Left. And on today's coach, we have Coach Robert. On today's show, we have Coach Rob Davies, who coached over 35 years with coaching stops at NEO AM, A&M Junior College, Owasso High School, South Grand Prairie High School, Georgetown East View High School, and Harlingen CISD. He's currently the athletic director at Harlingen CISD. Appreciate you, Coach Davies, for taking time to be on the podcast.
Appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
Um, well, first of all, I mean, let's talk about you. You were raised in Oklahoma. So, what part of Oklahoma?
Northeast Oklahoma, just about 10 miles north of Tulsa. It's a town called Owasso. That's where I grew up. Went to high school there, met my wife there, married my high school sweetheart. Um, Coached there for about 7 years also, and then made the move to Texas.
Okay, when in that growing up, did you play any kind of sports?
I was football, all about football, and then I did track. I was a shot put discus guy. Whenever I was younger, I ran a little bit, then I got too big, and so more of the field events.
Did you do you have any brothers and sisters?
I have a sister. She grew up there also. My mother was a teacher in the district there, and so she played basketball up, and then stayed there for quite a while. Then got married. She now lives in Washington D.C. area.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Did as anybody your parents were they an athletic driven or were they part of athletics or any type of?
My mom was a school teacher. My dad grew up in Minnesota. And I think his goal, what he really wanted to do, he wanted to be a history teacher. And I think he really liked athletics. He participated. He grew up in a farming community. And I don't remember him ever really asking me, hey, do you want to play football? Do you want to play basketball? Do you want to play track? I just remember him signing me up and me going as a little kid. And, I didn't ever say no. And just kind of found my way. It started to show a little bit of promise, and he continued to support that. And they would always be at my games, but it was never, a lot of pressure. It was always, it's time for football. It's time for this. It's time for that. So they did a great job.
Um, in Oklahoma, in high school, you played. You say you did all those. Did you do that in middle school and high school?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, we started football with the schools in seventh grade, up until seventh grade, very similar to here. You played Little League. So.
And then you ended up going to Missouri State University on a scholarship,
Yeah.
or
So after high school, was recruited, felt like Missouri Southern State University, which is in Joplin, Missouri, was a good fit for me. Went up there, played 4 years, was a linebacker there. Then after I graduated, that's whenever I got an opportunity to go be a restricted earnings coach, which is you're going to work really, really hard. They're not going to pay you very much money at Northeastern Oklahoma A&M. And that was a great experience for me, being at that young of an age, getting a chance to coach college athletes, tremendous talent in the junior college in that period of time. My first year, we won the national championship for junior college. And the second year, we played for it and got beat. And so I was like, man, this coaching deal is all right. I've lost 2 games in 2 years and won a national championship and played for another. And then after that, really wanted to pursue a career in college athletics. And ended up where my girlfriend at the time, we ended up getting married. And I really kind of did an evaluation of the whole thing and thought, you know what, it's probably best for me for the lifestyle that we want to have that I go the high school route. And so moved back to my hometown, Owasso, Oklahoma, started teaching and coaching in there, and was the linebacker coach, assistant track coach, and then ended up becoming defensive coordinator. And, after 7 years, we made the move with my head coach to South Grand Prairie High School in the Dallas Metroplex.
okay. Let's backtrack a little bit on the defensive side. What defense did you run back then?
At that time, we were what would now be known 4-2-5.
Okay.
I mean, we were really a 4-4 defense, and we played cover 3 is what we were doing mostly. But now it's evolved to the 4-2-5.
And real quick on that note, with your as your girlfriend and now into becoming your wife, did she already know that you were going to become a coach? Because she knew that some stuff changes and you move and you.
Yeah, we started dating whenever we were juniors in high school. And so, we were on again, off again. And then I obviously was going to school, got a physical education degree and a minor in social studies. And that was the path that I was going to be on. I really thought that I was going to end up going the college route. I just wanted that higher level. But as you start learning more about that, it's very difficult to have the home life that I really wanted.
Okay.
And so, we made a decision. I think it was the right decision. It's worked out great for us that we would move back to our hometown. Thought I would stay there forever. Got invited to go to the San Angelo clinic by my head coach and came down to Texas at the San Angelo clinic, and I was talking to coaches, and it was just a little bit more than what I was doing in Oklahoma. And I told my head coach on the way back, I said, man, we need to get to Texas. And so after that football season, he started applying for jobs and was fortunate to get the job at South Grand Prairie High School, and very blessed that he brought me with him as the defense coordinator.
Defensive coordinator. Who was that coach?
David Fisher.
David Fisher. Oh,
Yep.
Okay. And in the years coming, you went to South Texas Grand Prairie. So was it a big difference from Owasso, like in terms of lifestyle or in terms of the atmosphere of?
It was a huge difference because Owasso, Oklahoma is really like a suburb of Tulsa. And whenever we came down for the interview, he came down for the interview and I went with him. This is in the middle of the Dallas Metroplex. It's right there between Highway 20 and Highway 30, and lots of concrete, tremendous amount of talent in that area of the Metroplex. It's the hotbed, not far from Duncanville, not far from Cedar Hill, from DeSoto, from all these different schools. Those were the people that we were playing. And I remember whenever we took the job, it was very different than where I had been coaching. And I went into off season and I was just amazed at the level of talent that we had. And I told her, I said, man, we're going to win the state championship. This is the greatest job that we've ever had in our life. Well, it turned out everybody else had very similar talent. That first year as a defensive coordinator, in a 10-game schedule, we played 7 Division I tailbacks. God. And, that taught me a lot. The thing that's different is in Oklahoma at that time, there were 32 6A schools in the entire state of Oklahoma. Well, there's more than 32 in the Dallas Metroplex. And so, we were repeatedly ranked in the top 10 in the state of Oklahoma. Well, now it's just, hey, can we get in the top 10 of the Metroplex? But that's really, I think, whenever I was forced to get better, because I thought I was a good coach. I thought I knew how to coach hard. I thought I knew how to get a lot out of people. I thought I knew how to be demanding. And that first year, we struggled. I believe we were 3-7, and I had walked away from my hometown. There was no way going back. And then you start thinking about, man, are we going to get fired? And I just decided, no, that's not going to happen. We're going to figure this out, and we're going to get a whole lot better and continue to hang our hat on the things that we believe in. And fortunately, we were able to turn around and start having some success. But that first year was culture shock. That was the same year of 9/11. And so I remember being in my classroom, planes hit, going to the field house, we canceled practice, going home, not really knowing what to do because normally I'm at practice. And then that week we made a decision that we were going to go ahead and play, and we went and we played Fort Worth Dunbar, and we didn't play very well, and it was a crazy time that first year.
Yeah. And how many years were you there in South Grand Prairie?
I was there total for 10. I was there first as the defensive coordinator, and then got an opportunity to become the head coach.
Really? Okay. So then, with that, you ended up going to Georgetown Eastview, but it was in his first year in becoming a. You were gonna play JV, and then that. How does that come about? Like, how does that, man? Wasn't that a whole different ball game, or?
So Georgetown is a little bit like where I had grown up.
Okay.
Central Texas, a little bit smaller. Georgetown's a beautiful town, a great town. Southwestern University, where Los Fresnos quarterback just signed. He's going to do great there. Great kid. They're going to win in that, and he's going to win in that. Was really excited to go there, but the catch was, this is a brand new school, a brand new program. You're starting from nothing. And so whenever I first got there, the off season was in the spring, and these were freshmen, but they were at Georgetown High School. And so whenever I first got them, they were still dressed in Georgetown attire, because we weren't even really officially a school yet. And I remember, bringing them all together, and we were going to break it out, and we didn't even have a thing. There was no, go fight, win, Eagles or whatever. It was nothing like that. And so I was like, wow, this is truly ground zero. These are freshmen. And some of them, whenever there's a new school, some of them, they don't even want to go to that school.
Yeah.
They want to stay at the mothership. They want to stay at the school that was the original. And so there was a lot there, but my son was in that original senior class. He was a freshman. He came with us, and we started building.
And that first year you played the JV, right?
The first year we played a freshman schedule, and then we had a JV schedule, and they call it a shotgun schedule. And I think really you could argue both ways on what's the best way to do it. I wanted our kids, whenever they were juniors, to have an opportunity to play varsity football. And so that first year we played freshmen and JV with freshmen and sophomores. And then the following year we were in a new district. We were realigned in a district, and we had freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, no seniors. And that's tough. That first year's tough whenever you're trying to play, with juniors and sophomores against seniors and established programs. But then the upside of that is the next year you return everybody.
Yeah.
And so, you have 22 starters, and that next year, we had a very good team, and we were able to do really well. And then the following year, with the original freshman group, now they're seniors, that's whenever we end up winning a district title and had a great team.
On that, when you started your freshman, did you bring coaches with you, or did you get to hire coaches? How did that come about?
Right. So whenever the Georgetown ISD made the decision to split the school, there was a group of coaches that were given to me, and then I had an opportunity to hire really that first year 2 coaches. And I tell people all the time, probably the funnest year I ever had coaching was that first year, because you're coaching freshmen and JV, and it's like a 4 or 5 man staff, right? And so you can kind of relate to this. It's not a big staff. You know everybody, and everybody's just pulling together. We didn't have a trainer that first year, so we're hauling water. I went from 17 coaches at South Grand Prairie High School in a 6A district in the Dallas Metroplex to this. It was different, but that was probably my favorite year of coaching, because there wasn't a lot of pressure, and we were just coaching nonstop. We were coaching freshmen, A team, B team, JV, light. I mean, it was a lot, but it was fun.
At what age was that around?
For me, that would have been in 2011, 44 maybe.
Oh, okay. You still had that energy.
44 years old.
Still had it going.
Yeah.
And when you went with that, you ended up staying there for how long?
8 years.
8 years. And then when you came to Harlingen, what brought you to Harlingen? How did you hear about that?
So I always knew that. Well, first of all, my 22-year-old self, I'm going to go coach in the Southeastern Conference, right? And then, like we talked about, plans changed, and then it's like, okay, I'm going to go to my hometown, and I'm going to end up becoming the head coach. I'm going to win however many state championships. And then I'm going to become the athletic director. I always knew I wanted to finish my career as an athletic director. So, as I got to the Metroplex, I really put a lot of energy into coaching, learned a lot, got better, made a lot of connections, coached a lot of great players. Then the move in Georgetown, really great kids, some really good players also, some really good football, Vandergrift, Cedar Park, Georgetown High, all those people got a chance to really, continue to evolve as a coach. But I knew that I wanted to finish as an athletic director. And I tell people when they ask this question, for me, I started feeling like I really enjoyed helping our coaches. And I think if you ever get to feel that way, because it's a kid business. Coaching is a kid business. And that was kind of like, maybe this is time for me to step into this arena, and, made the decision that I wanted to be an athletic director. And so just because you decide that doesn't mean that's necessarily what's going to happen. And interestingly enough, I had applied for some different athletic director jobs, was actually hired at Corpus Christi ISD from Brenda Marshall, who's a legend in the profession, as one of her assistant athletic directors. And so I had moved to Corpus Christi, but I had already applied for the Harlingen CISD athletic director job. And didn't know anyone, didn't think anything was going to come of it, was perfectly happy with being in Corpus Christi. Well, on my first day on the job in Corpus Christi as an assistant athletic director, I am invited to come and interview for the job. And, I came down here and I met everybody in Harlingen. At the time, Dr. Art Cavazos was the superintendent. Dr. Alicia Noila was really overseeing a lot of the athletics, and met them. Dr. Joseph Villarreal, incredible people, super smart people, very impressive people. I had, I guess, a very good interview with the committee, came back, sat with them, became the finalist, and ended up getting the job. Well, then basically I just start the job and I have to tell Brenda Marshall, hey, I'm going to leave. I worked there 8 days. I'm going to leave and go be the athletic director in Harlingen CISD. And she gave her blessing. She was great. She said, that's what you wanted to do. It just happened faster than what any of us thought. Go, that's a great place. And so got an opportunity to come down here and meet a lot of incredible people who immediately embraced me and helped me, and all the athletic directors in our region. It's been a great thing.
And you've been here, so how many years? So
I think this is my 8th year.
8th year. I thought it was gonna be 6. Okay,
Yeah.
All right. Listen, I'm gonna backtrack again from Harlingen. I'm gonna backtrack to ask you a little bit more coaching questions. When you were coaching, looks like you're from the defensive side, right? Did you ever go to the offense or just the defense?
Never coached an offensive position.
Oh, okay. So with the defensive side, what did you tell your coach? What did you tell your kids the most? Well, like if I would ask one of the kids, what did Coach Davies say the most?
I mean, a lot of my coaching now in retrospect, I hung my hat on being physical, flying to the football, giving tremendous effort, and being physical.
That's one of the, I think for sure the middle school kids, we would tell them all the time, be physical, but sometimes they don't know what that means. But yeah. All right.
Well, I mean, that's when you see it and then you make a point to that's what we're talking about, then kids start figuring it out, because you're right, they don't know what physical is until they start to see physical.
Yeah.
And hopefully that's happening in practice, and you're not getting introduced on a game field. Someone else is showing you what physical looks like and
Yeah,
feels
I
like.
remember telling the coaches, swallow your whistle right now. We need to let them play. We need to let them get after it for a while because sometimes they blow the whistle. We're like, hey, we're not really gonna hit, but yeah, I understand because injuries. Everybody's worried about injuries and stuff.
Right.
Um, well, in South Grand Prairie or Georgetown East, did you remember? Do you remember any football games? Do you remember? Your like games that you're like, man, this was a hard game. This was a good game. Do you remember anything like that?
There was two that I can think of. I can think of a bunch of them, but two of them I'll tell you about was whenever I was at South Grand Prairie. I was now the head coach, and we went and we played Arlington. I believe it was Arlington Lamar away, and they kick off to us, and we fumble the opening kickoff, and they score a touchdown. We're down 7-0. They kick off to us, same kid fumbles again. The kickoff, they get it. We're down 14-0. So we're down 14-0, and we haven't even really had the ball yet, right? And we end up fighting our way all the way back to a triple overtime and winning in triple overtime. And that was pretty cool, to be down like that and then have the opportunity to come back, fight back all the way and then win it in triple overtime, in the third overtime period. So that was pretty cool. Another one was we were playing Vandergrift High School and at Vandergrift, and they had a great team, great coach. Coach Sanders is the president of the Texas High School Coaches Association this year. He's a great coach. And so we're over there and we're playing, and we win the game in overtime on a stop on defense, and the kid is like this far away. It could be debated. Coach Sanders would probably say maybe he was in, but it could be debated. And we were actually down at halftime, same situation, and the kids just found a way to get it done in the second half, and that was a great feeling because that's a great program and a great team and a great coach, and for us to be able to go over there and beat them there, that doesn't happen very often.
Those are pretty good. Let me ask you a question. On those two touchdowns you were down, did you put the kid back in?
I was trying to remember. I want to say after the first one, we let it roll. After the second one, we said, you're not back there anymore.
Okay, all right.
You're not back there anymore. And the third one, the third kickoff, whoever was there fielded it. We didn't have any more turnovers.
Let's talk about the realignment. Let's talk about that, Harlingen South. Did you already have some scenarios, or did you and the other two coaches have scenarios about where were you going to go, or are these guys going to go to Corpus or stuff like that? Did you have that?
I think where we're located, it was pretty clear it was going to roll out one of a couple of ways for Harlingen High. And, we started thinking there, especially towards the end, as we saw PSJ North was going to go up. We knew the Edinburghs were all going to opt up. How does Laredo going to factor into this? And we had a scenario where we were going to end up with Weslaco and a lot of our old traditional 32-6A, and then the other one was we thought we would get PSJ and PSJ North, which is exactly what happened. And then it made sense for Weslaco to go up that way because they couldn't split the PSJ schools. Mm-hmm. So that one really, I think we were not real surprised by that one. We thought we might even get La Jolla having to come down. There was some stuff with the Laredo schools where we're looking at it, and we were pretty spot on that one. And with the 5A, you know, just because of the limited number of 6As, we weren't sure, are we going to be back grouped with Corpus in the 5A Division One with South? I felt comfortable that our other sports would be realigned with Brownsville, and that's exactly what happened. But the 5A Division One, what's going to happen with that, especially whenever the Edinburghs all opted up? And so, you know, just from a travel perspective, I would prefer not to be with the Corpus schools, but you know that's not what happened, and so we're gonna go up there and play, and then they'll be coming down here, and we're gonna get after it and look forward to seeing what happens. Um, so I don't think we were too far off. A lot of times they're huge surprises, they're shocks. This time for our two high schools, I think we pretty much anticipated what happened.
Um, and then the non-district games, they kind of figured that out. They really had kind of like, hey, I called him, they called me, and stuff like that. They usually, because you want to keep them like local, little bit of those non-district games.
So lots of coaches do it different ways. You know, our coaches were already out there. Coach Gomez, I think he thought he was probably going to get maybe one more team aligned with him, so he had to find an additional game, and that's how we ended up playing Midland. We thought we would not have to have a week 5 non-district game. But that's kind of a chaotic thing. That might be a cool thing for your show, is to go to realignment and interview coaches and watch and see how all that's going down. Because once it goes up on the website, and then they're giving you the packets, and you know, you can just watch. From my perspective, you're just watching coaches, and you know, for some of them, their fortunes are made on that day, or they're lost. You know, I thought I had a district championship team, and then I got put over here with all these Scorpions. You know, how's that going to roll? And then I got to find games, and so you start watching games being flashed up on. They'll have a projector, they'll have a system, and you know, that's what happened two years ago with San Benito having to play Carthage, and us having to play Cuero and people like that, because there weren't enough teams. And so you're looking, all right, who's a 5-team district, who's a 6-team district? I need to start calling there, because they're in the same boat. They're looking for games. I can't be looking for a week 3 game with a team that's in an 8-team district. That's not going to work. And then for Coach Gonzalez, he already had his non-district game scheduled. He even had some additionals just in case something strange happened. But his lined out pretty much how he thought it would.
On that note, talking about Coach Gonzalez and Coach Gomez, I mean, one thing I do want to ask, and I think if I didn't ask this, people start screaming at the TV at the time, is talk about the Bird Bowl. I want to talk about the Bird Bowl. You've been around for 8 seasons or 7 seasons nowadays. What's a Friday night like on Friday during the day? What's it like for the Bird Bowl when it starts happening?
Well, it's a cool thing. So it's very unique because Coach Gonzalez went to Harlingen High School as a player while Coach Gomez was on the staff. And he played on the defensive side where Coach Gomez flourished and made his mark, right? And then Coach Gonzalez went on another path and then found his way to coaching. And once he started coaching, he started in San Benito as a middle school coach, and then got to Harlingen High, and he was on Manny Gomez's staff. And then he ascended to the offensive line coach and even the offensive coordinator under Coach Gomez. And so really, that's a mentor for him. He would probably, I'm sure he would tell you that. And so a lot of what's made Manny Gomez great was put into Coach Gonzalez. Well, then, you know, everybody has to look at the lay of the land, and I want to be a head coach, and I don't know when Coach Gomez is going to walk away, so I got to go find my opportunity. And to his credit, he went to Lyford and did an incredible job, and that's whenever I first met him, was during that COVID year. We were talking about, how are you handling this? Oh, I'm doing it like this. How are you doing it? Oh, I'm doing it like this. And so I met him, and then I started understanding this is a Harlingen guy. He's a bright guy. And we thought potentially there could be an opening at South. And that's what happened. And he applied and, came over and came back home, so to speak, at Harlingen South. And so what makes the Bird Bowl unique is that relationship with Coach Gomez and Coach Gonzalez, right? And so the community comes out, the Bogus Stadium is packed. Kids play their tail ends off, lots of emotions, lots of energy. They do a great job. It's a great showcase for our bands, for our cheer, for everything Harlingen. That's a great showcase for us.
That part. What is the stress in terms of, is it the officials, the weather, or the parking, or what's the biggest stress you have for most of the, especially that game?
For me,
Yeah,
as the athletic director,
because it's
because I've been asked this before. What do you want to see? And I say this. I'm like a father with two sons, and I just want to see a good fight. I don't care who wins. I just want to see a good fight. I want to see a fair fight, a good fight, a competitive fight, and if that happens, then Harlingen wins. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I don't think there's a lot of stress for me. I think the more the stress is on the coaches and the kids, because it's a very important game for me. Once we get to 7 o'clock or 7:30, whatever time we kick off, I just want to make sure that is a great environment for them to go and compete. That's what I'm looking for.
In terms of being the athletic director, what does a great athletic program look like to you with beyond just the wins and losses?
Well, wins and losses is a big part of that. And to say that it's not is kind of silly. People lose their job whenever they don't perform, right? And so in Harlingen, there's an expectation that you're going to be successful. And what I tell people is I would never want to be somewhere where there wasn't that expectation, because we're gonna have that expectation, and then we're going to support you to be able to allow us to have that expectation. We're going to give you the resources. We're going to give you the things that you need within reason to be successful. For our coaches, a lot of our coaches are Harlingen people, and so they've come up that way, and they know that that's the way it is. Mm-hmm. And even if it wasn't that way, they want to win because that's the school that they went to, and they want to continue that success. Is what I tell our coaches, it is education-based athletics. What is the goal? The goal is to win. The purpose of education-based athletics is to develop young people. Mm-hmm. And the purpose supersedes the goal. We're not gonna win and not develop people. First and foremost, we're gonna take care of the purpose. That's to use athletics as a tool, as an instrument to develop young people. But we also want to do that in a way where they're going to be successful in competition. So, what does it look like? I think you have to have those two elements. You have to understand what's the goal and what's the purpose, and have them in the right priority. It's purpose first, goal second. You can't have goal and then maybe no purpose, just win at all costs. That's not what high school athletics is. But make no mistake, this is Texas, and we have scoreboards, and we expect success.
What trends are you seeing right now in the student participation in multi-sport athletes?
So my first year, I want to say my first year was the COVID year. And I think that we did a great job that year of just trying to keep athletics at the forefront. We kept our middle school programs going. We kept our sub-varsity programs going. Our coaches did an incredible job. I'm sure there will be a movie or a book, or the stories will be told about how we're disinfecting bars and everyone's wearing masks and we're social distancing and we're doing all these things. Our coaches, we put a plan in place and they found a way to make it happen for our athletes. So yes, we lost some time and some development there, but we kept it going,
And multi-sport athletes.
So we didn't lose a lot of participation when we came back out of COVID, right? Enrollment trends really across the country, across the state of Texas, they're starting to drop off. A lot of that has to do with the lower birth rates. Some of it has to do with some specialty schools and different things like that. But we're 2,000 less students in our school district in Harlingen than we were whenever I got there. And so we're on par, maybe even a little higher with our participation rates. Our middle schools, we track, this is one of the metrics that we track. All of our middle schools, 50% of the population of all 5 of our middle schools is in an athletic period, 50%. And then as they get to Kano Freshman Academy and then they get to the high schools, that drops off a little bit, but we have great participation in Harlingen. And then the other thing that's unique about Harlingen is we have so many opportunities for kids. So, you want to be in the band, we have great band. You want to be in fine arts, I don't think there's any better fine arts program anywhere than what we have. You want to be in athletics, you want to do both. We offer a lot of opportunities.
On that note, I wanted to open that a little bit about the freshman Academy Kano. There, and I mean, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know how this works, is there that you're dealing with kids, with the freshmen that are half Harlingen, half South, or do they, how do they?
So it's unique.
Yeah,
but we find a way to make it work, right? So Kano Freshman Academy is one freshman campus. And within that freshman campus, all of the freshmen that are zoned to Harlingen High attend there, and all the freshmen that are zoned to Harlingen South attend there. So you could walk into an English class and say, who in here is a Harlingen Cardinal? And half the kids would raise their hand. Who in here is a Harlingen South Hawk? The other half would raise their hand. So then the classrooms in the academic settings, they're blended together. Yeah. In the athletic periods, that's where they're specific to their campus. And so at Kano, we call them Kano Navy, that's Harlingen High. Kano Gold, that's Harlingen South. And in their athletic periods, that's how they're broke out.
What we call lasting impact is I reached out some coaches and asked them to describe you in one word and elaborate. The first one is I read the word and then elaborate, and I tell you who did it, who wrote it for you. Stoic is my word to describe Coach Davies. Most people think stoic and automatically think dry or even cold, but that's not it. Coach Davies is a calculated leader who evaluates and thinks before he speaks or moves, and I have a great deal of respect for that. Leading a difficult task in any sense, but when you task to lead, others need to come first, and every move and word should be weighed and measured. I think he does that very well. That's Coach Israel Gonzalez. The next one, mentor. Rob Davies doesn't just share knowledge, he shares patience, stories, warnings, encouragement. Great things is he lends you his experience so you don't have to learn every lesson the hard way. And often he gives without expecting applause, recognition, or repayment. His reward is watching you rise. What makes a mentor and consequently Rob Davies differently from anyone else is this. He's invested in you becoming. He celebrates your small victories as if they were his own. He'll correct you not to diminish you, but to refine you. He challenges you not to pressure you, but to prepare you. And when you finally stand tall on your own, he's a man who sits back quietly, proud but never possessive. And by the way, he's probably the first person I call when a difficult athletic director situation come up. That's from Coach David Cantu.
Good friend.
Um, the next one, I would say the best word to describe him is responsive. By that time, I mean, by that I mean he never lets emotions get in his way of leading. He responds to obstacles and situations. He doesn't react to situations. He makes a very good decision because of his skill set. That's from your assistant director, Luis Solorio. And this is the next one is the smallest part, but it makes me wonder about these two coaches. Stoic, simply minds his business. That's from Coach Manny Gomez. So I saw Coach Israel Gonzalez is stoic, and so did Coach Manny Gomez. So both head coaches of South and Harlingen Cardinals. Now, in 8 years that you've been here, you've made some type of impact on these individuals. Uh, how does it feel to you influence them in a positive way?
Well, I think we made impacts on each other. And one of the things that I think about with our two head football coaches is they have some similarities, and they're very close in the way that they came up in coaching, right? And so when you throw a third person into that mix, having three people that are the exact same personality or similar in personality is probably combustible. And so, Coach Gonzalez is a very passionate football coach. One of my favorite things about him. Coach Gomez is a very passionate football coach. In my role, it's not that I'm not passionate. I am passionate, but I have to be more laid back or even stoic. And so a lot of times, they give me trouble where they're telling me about some situation, and it's for them is DEFCON 4, and I'm just sitting there looking at them and listening. And then, we try and solve it. So I think that's one of the things that makes our relationship really, really work is we know each other well enough now where they can be them, and I don't throw fuel onto that, and we ignite together into something that maybe we shouldn't. I can sit there and take the information and disseminate it or diffuse the situation, or vice versa, because sometimes they're the ones that are really bringing solutions to our athletic department. Really, really blessed with the three people that you mentioned, Coach Gomez, Coach Gonzalez, and Coach Solorio. All four of us are very different with the skill sets that we have. And that's what I think makes our athletic department really, really work. If we were all the same, I think there would be a lot more conflict. Because you're dealing with, competition, and egos get in the way and all kinds of things, and I need to do this and I need to do that and I need to be right. I don't need to be right. I need to do what's best for Harlingen.
Yeah.
That's what I need to do.
Before we continue the podcast, we're moving into the 2-minute offense, where we ask the coach this or that questions. This segment is proudly brought to you by Game One. When it comes to the best in the business, Game One is the gold standard for outfitting the athletes who give it their all. Whether you're looking for custom team uniforms, high-performance training apparel, or the latest equipment to give your program the edge, there's only one person you need to call. Get in touch with Leo Zamaripa today. Leo and the team at Game One have everything you need to look like a pro and play like a champion. Contact Leo directly at 956-561-5002. That's 956-561-5002. Gear up with Game One, and let's get back to the One Time Out Left podcast. Call it 2-minute offense. It's I don't know where I put it nowadays. Okay, here we go. It's a 2-minute offense. This is a this or that, and you just decide which one you want. And it's 2-minute offense. It's fast and furious. A sweater or a hoodie?
Hoodie.
Save or spend?
Spend.
Oh. iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
TV shows or movies?
I'll binge watch a series. I'm going to go TV shows.
Series. Laundry or dishes?
Ooh. Neither.
Iced coffee or hot coffee?
Hot coffee.
The glass is half empty or the glass is half full?
I think it's half full.
Peanut butter, smooth or crunchy?
Crunchy.
Tattoos or piercings? Not saying you might not have any, but which one would you prefer? Or
If I had to have one or the other, I probably would have a tattoo, but I don't have either.
beach day or camping?
Beach day.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Cookies or chips?
Cookies.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Sunrise or sunset?
Ooh. I love being on the water when the sun's coming up, but I like it a lot when it's going down too. But I think the sunset, just because that signifies you have the whole day.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Texas summer or Texas winter?
Texas summer.
Pancakes or waffles?
Waffles.
Pizza or pasta?
Pizza.
Christmas or Thanksgiving?
Christmas.
The alarm, do you snooze or get up right away?
Usually I get up right away.
Mullet or mohawk?
I would do a mohawk.
Chess or checkers?
I like chess.
Text or call?
It's always best to call if you can.
Onion rings or French fries?
French fries.
Barbecue or tacos?
Barbecue.
Okay, and then one of the last ones, and this 2 minute offense has been, I changed it finally after first season, second season, I changed it most of these. And the last one, have you ever karaoke'd? Like sang a song?
No. And if I had any musical talent at all, I absolutely would. I'm just really, really bad.
That's the last one for the 2 minute offense. I know that we've gone with athletic director ones, and I think those are pretty good, because I think most of the other coaches I've asked is more of the at that football part, but not a little bit of the athletic part. So I think we've gotten more into athletic part with yours. What I want to ask right now is that what kind of coaches do you look for in terms of like if cross country or somebody that applies for a new coach? Let's say you have an opening, what would you look for?
Well, there's a lot of things that make up a great coach. I think just the desire to be a great coach. Are you hungry to be a great coach? Some things that I talk to our coaches about, communication, organization, and relationships. Those are fundamentals of coaching. Do you care about kids? That has to be high on the list, because they're going to challenge you, and you have to be able to respond to them the right way. You have to enjoy being around them. Do you know your craft, or can we teach you? Because sometimes if you have a lot of desire, we can teach you the X's and O's of whatever sport. And then can you actually communicate it? Can you teach it to other people? Those are some of the things that I think I look for. Starting, I think top of the list is probably, are you a good human being? Can we trust you? So when I talk to our coaches, character and competence and connection, right? Are you a good human being? Can you do the job, or can you learn how to do the job, and can you make connections with people? Because it's a relationship business. So, whenever I'm looking at coaches or talking about people and is this the right fit, usually those are the ones that we come back to and Coach Solorio and Coach Flynn and even our athletic coordinators at the middle schools and the high schools, there's a certain person that's going to be successful in Harlingen. And it's usually they need to fit within that. And if they're outside of that, our job is to be the gatekeeper and save them the trouble and save us the trouble, because it's not going to work. You can't be successful in our school district if you don't know how to treat people. You can't be successful in our district if you are bad for kids. And so as we're evaluating, we're just trying to make sure we're getting someone who's a right fit for Harlingen. You may be the greatest coach, wins and losses ever, but if you can't get along, it's not going to work.
What is a common myth in coaching? Or what's a common myth in athletic director?
That you don't do anything. And there's times in my day where I'm sitting there and I say, I kind of understand why someone would say, well, what do you do? And then the phone rings and it's a fire. And that's whenever you do a lot. Being able to identify the right people and putting them in the right positions and giving them the responsibility and giving them the support that they need to be successful, that's a huge part of it. Surrounding yourself with great people, we have great coaches. We have great coaches in the Rio Grande Valley. We have really great coaches in Harlingen, in my opinion. Top to bottom, I would stack them up against anyone. In our athletic department, Luis Solorio could easily go be an athletic director for any district around here and do an incredible job. Just great with people, great work ethic, smart. So for me, I'm fortunate to be surrounded by all these great people, and I just try and solve some problems that need to be solved, allow people to solve problems that they can solve for themselves, and give them an opportunity to grow. And whenever important decisions need to be made, bring the right people to the table and make sure that we make the right decision for our athletic department and for Harlingen. So I think the myth is, sometimes they don't do anything, and maybe I can see why people would say that, but sometimes some of those conversations and some of those decisions, they're pretty difficult.
Yeah, they are. Now, in becoming an athletic director, and along the way you've coached at South Grand Prairie and Georgetown East, you've said you made a lot of connections. Is there anybody that's the most influential person that has come into your life?
So, the most influential person in my life, honestly, is my wife. And I don't know that she will view this, but that's the truth. And so we've been together since we were 16, 17 years old. We have 3 kids and we've moved all over the place, and she's been right there, and she knows me at my worst and she knows me at my best. And so she's the most influential. As far as, the coaching tree, I wouldn't say I have this elite coaching tree where I work for this person, I say their name and everyone goes, oh yeah, I know who that is. I've been fortunate to be able to build relationships with some great people in our professional organizations. Coach Martin, who's over the Texas High School Coaches Association, Coach Dowling, who's over the Texas High School Athletic Directors Association. Several people down here. One of the first people I ever met before I would even come down here was Gilbert Leal, ironically. I was at an athletic directors meeting in Waco, and Gilbert had just gotten the job at Brownsville. He was there, and we were having a conversation, and then a few months later, I'm down here, and we're like, hey, how small of a world is it really? And, he's been great for me. He's a Harlingen guy. And so, I wouldn't really point to any one person other than my wife, but I have had an opportunity to be around some really, really good people and just watch them work.
Do you think if you write a book, would you write it on the athletic director part, or would you write it on the coaching part?
I think I was a good football coach. I really feel like I'm a better athletic director. Sometimes I wrestle with that because I haven't been one nearly as long as I was a coach. You know, how could you say that? I just think my mind and my personality, Coach Gomez and Coach Gonzalez, I can get fiery, but this role allows me to really, that's not appropriate. You know, the athletic director is supposed to be the one to have the calming voice. And that's honestly probably more my nature. Um, I can get right there with anyone in a linebacker drill, and I can do that, and I don't have any problem doing that. And that's a necessary if you're going to coach linebackers to coach hard and to coach loud and be aggressive that way. But my true nature, I think, is more administrative. And, I really enjoy being behind the scenes because I've been out front. I love seeing our teams be successful. I love seeing our coaches be successful. I had some really cool things happen this year. As we're talking, all 4 of our basketball teams won district titles. Both boys teams, both girls teams. We win a combined 15-0 and 52-0 in district play between the 4 teams. Didn't lose a district game at Harlingen High or Harlingen South. And then Coach Littleton, who's a former Los Fresnos girl coach, she won her first playoff game for us in the by district, and I was probably as fired up for her as I ever was for myself. And then Coach Monsaves, man, she's won nine district titles in like 12 years or something like that. Crazy level of success. And Coach Creeders, this is his 2nd district title, but the first outright that we've had in quite some time. And then Brian Molina has had tremendous success there at Harlingen South. And so, I had my time as a coach. I'm doing exactly what I think I was created to do now.
That was giving me to my next question: is do you miss the coaching? But I know you just mentioned, you talked about it right now. I'm gonna wrap it up real soon. What what do you do when you're not athletic director? When you're not working?
Well, I like to play golf. We live in the Harlingen Country Club, so I like to do that. And usually I like to play by myself. Sometimes I'll play with my father-in-law, but I enjoy just kind of getting away and having it be quiet. I love to get out on the water and fish. I love bird hunting, South Texas dove hunting, nothing like that. Have a dog, a bird dog, a German short-haired pointer named Cooper. Love spending time with him. And then my wife. Family would be high on the list. We have 3 kids. My oldest son lives in Gilbert, Arizona. They have 2 children with 1 on the way. My daughter lives in Georgetown as a teacher in Round Rock ISD. She's due in March. And then my middle child lives in Mansfield, and they're working to have a baby soon also. So, that's kind of the stage that I'm in, is pretty chill. That's why I think, a lot of people in the Valley, oh, I want to move to San Antonio or Austin or Dallas or Houston. Yeah. And here I am. Well, I already did all that. I want to be in South Texas. I want to be here. So, kind of been there, done that, seen that, coached some great players, been around some great players that played in the NFL, players that have played in Super Bowls, players that have been Division I players. I mean, all kinds of that stuff like that. Really, really happy here.
Talking in terms of if a coach, somebody who wants to be a coach right now, a up and coming coach, what would you tell them what would be the first thing you would tell them?
So they're a young person and they want to be a coach.
Yeah, they're about to finish school and they're about applying or trying to go somewhere, trying to be a coach, coach.
I think the thing that I would tell them is you need to evaluate, is this really what you want to do? Because sometimes what I see is there's two kinds of people that end up in education, end up as coaches. There's people that are called to be a teacher and called to be a coach. And there's people that fell to being a coach or fell to being a teacher. And you can identify them pretty quickly. If they're truly called to the profession, you can't run them off. That they're down for whatever it takes to be great. If they wanted to be an accountant and the math classes were too difficult and they settled and became a math major and took a test and became a teacher and or a coach, there's not the same fire there. They wanted something else and it didn't happen, and this was their backup plan. Whereas you can see we have some incredible people. They could have been anything they wanted to be, but they chose to be an educator. They chose to be a teacher. They chose to be a coach. And it's an entirely different person when you watch them work. And so what I would say to them is this what you really want to do? You need to make a decision. You need to know about all the difficult things that come with the profession, because there are some very difficult things that come with this. And then you also need to know all the great things. And you need to weigh that out. You know, if you want to own your own island and have a jet and do all these things, that's probably not going to happen if you're going to be in public education, you know, at a high school or a middle school. It's probably not going to happen. You would have to take on some other type of career after you did that to make that become a reality. You're not going to make, you know, $1 million a year salary in public education. You're just not. But here's the things that you are going to get. And what do you value? If you value having a jet and an island, is it going to be frustrating to you whenever you realize that you're probably not ever going to do that? If the answer is yes, that's an indicator that maybe this isn't for you. Because I think a lot of times we get people, they think this is what they want because they can't do anything else. And then they get in here and they're bad for kids, and they're bad for education, and they're bad for coaching. And so I try and get those people, don't come in, because you're not going to be happy and you're not going to make anyone else happy.
Yeah, that's true. Now, in what's the most significant change you see in high school football or high school athletics in the terms of the game and the athletes playing it over the years?
Yeah, I think right now for me, like the biggest thing that's strange to me is just this whole concept of choice, school choice. You know, I went to the same school from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. It never dawned on me or my parents that I should move to another school because maybe there was a different opportunity or a better opportunity or anything like that. I had a great experience in high school, but if I hadn't, my parents would not have moved me. They would have said, you need to figure it out there where you're at. So that's not the world that we live in now. Whenever I came to Texas, you know, the UIL, the governing rules that we have in place, they really weren't questioned. That was in 2001 whenever I came to the state of Texas and had to learn all that stuff. You know, 365, you sit out because you moved here, end of discussion. No pass, no play, end of discussion. You moved for athletic purposes, you're going to sit out for 365 days, no question. Now, just the mobility and the choice that people have, it's really changed things. I think, you know, keeping everybody where they're supposed to be is getting very, very difficult.
Yeah.
We're seeing it some in the Rio Grande Valley, but in the Houston and in the metropolitan areas, I mean, kids are jumping all over the place. And then the transfer portal happens, right? And so now there's even more of a push where people are saying, well, they're doing it in the NCAA. Why can't we do it in high school? I live in the attendance zone of Harlingen South, but I'm an old Cardinal and I want my son to be a Cardinal.
Yeah.
Why can't I be a Cardinal? Well, it used to be because the UIL said so. People don't want to hear that anymore. And I kind of admire that, honestly, because they're challenging the system, but it's getting very, very difficult to hold the line to the way that we've done things. And if we're not careful, we're going to take this great product, which is Texas high school athletics, and we're gonna make it where it's not community based anymore. You're gonna see, well, the best players in the lower valley end up at this school, and that's a football school. And the best baseball players in the upper valley, they end up at this school, and they may not even go there. Whenever we talked about the Bird Bowl, whenever the Bird Bowl plays, the Harlingen people come because it's Harlingen kids playing. That's the connection. It's community based. They go to church with these people. They know these kids. When you get away from that, you have something totally different, and I'm not sure we really want to do that.
Oh, Coach, I appreciate you being here. Thank you for sharing your journey. Is there any one last thing or anything you want to say to the people listening right now?
I'll just thank you for doing this and highlighting people from our region. I think it's a great thing, and we have a great area down here in the Rio Grande Valley. We have a lot to be proud of. Our kids do a great job. Our coaches do a great job. We've had some pretty unprecedented success as of late. For our district, going to the state track meet, Jose Garcia from Harlingen High School wins the 100 meters.
Yeah.
A kid from the Rio Grande Valley won the Class 6A 100 meters. Wow.
I remember seeing him, and he was with Gutierrez Middle School, and I remember seeing him. You would see him, and then you would see everybody else behind him, like, golly.
I mean, a kid from the Rio Grande Valley won the 100 meters in the largest classification in the state of Texas. Cool thing with Weslaco winning the state championship softball. Our Harlingen South was played prior to that in the finals, and then Weslaco ends up winning the 6A state championship in softball. Just there's a lot of really, really good things that are happening down here with all the districts that we have, and it's because of the coaches and kids that we've got.
All right, I appreciate you again. Thank you very much, Coach.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Thank you.
I'm back for season 2 of the One Time Out Left podcast. We're diving back into the world of high school athletics to bring you the raw behind-the-scenes journeys of the athletic directors and coaches. It's been a privilege sharing our passion for sports with all of you on the One Time Out Left. We're incredibly grateful for every listener who tunes in. If you enjoyed our discussions, you can catch us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. For even more content and to stay connected, be sure to follow on One Time Out Left on Instagram and TikTok and X. Thanks for being a part of the One Time Out Left community.